Today we're looking at EXP Realty in depth. I'm going to give you everything that you possibly would need in order to make an informed decision about EXP Realty and if it's the right decision for you, if it's the right brokerage for you. That's something I really want to expand upon and give you the pros and the cons of EXP Realty as it stands today. So if things materially change, understand that I'll either make an updated video or I'll reference it down in the comment section if it's a drastic enough change. So with that being said, let's get started. I want to make sure that I address all the questions that come up. Now through our presentation, I'm going to go a little bit quicker on certain slides. And I'm going to pause on some of them because at this point, I've done this presentation hundreds of times. I have one of the fastest growing real estate teams here at EXP. So I've had this conversation with real estate agents a good amount of time. So I know where the questions come in. I know where there's not that much of an importance. So, but at any point, if there's any questions, please feel free to drop them down in the comment section. I'll be sure to address them. So what we're covering today, who we are, so who EXP Realty is, a little bit about the business model and how we're breaking down boundaries. So Glenn Sanford, he is the founder, the fearless leader. He founded EXP Realty. He started real estate career in 2002. So as you can see, in his fourth year, he had over 60 million in sales volume. So a lot of his marketing, a lot of his business was coming from the online. So you can kind of see where he got the idea for the brokerage and knew that the online world was where it's at. But then in 2009, he founded EXP Realty. Now I know a lot of you are surprised by that fact, considering that you thought, well, EXP, I thought it was new. I just heard about it last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Well, it's been in existence for a little while now, and we're going to go through the timeline. So let's go and talk about who we are. 2009, EXP Realty is founded. Now, there's not going to be a quiz, none of that. I'm just going to go and accelerate through here and give you some milestones that I think are significant. All of them are significant, but just want to highlight a few that really explains the growth, really explains kind of where we're coming from and where we're going. So 2009, we're founded. In 2012, you see that EXP Realty launches in Canada. So within 3 short years, we're already in another country. So in 3 short years, there's another international presence. So in 2013, we get on the public exchange over in this exchange. And we're going to go through accelerate real quick until 2015. EXP launches the Agent Equity and Icon Agent Program. So this is a little catapult. This is a little igniter. So you're going to see what the Agent Equity is. You're going to see what the Icon Agent Program is. So you see why it actually makes a big difference and why in 2019, as we start ramping up, getting into all 50 states right here, and getting into all 50 states along with opening up in the NASDAQ in 2018, why this becomes material. In 2019, we had 25,000 agents. In 2021, so 2 short years later, we doubled that agent count. So you see that that's pretty powerful, going from 25,000 agents to 50,000 agents in 2 years. That is crazy. Now, EXP Realty core values. Now, these are words on the screen. I'll go ahead and share that with you right now. These are words on the screen, but I hope that you can believe me when I say that EXP Realty does embody these core values, at least from my personal experience. So just, you can take my word for it, or I can give you an attempt on the following slides to demonstrate that to you, but you're not going to truly fully understand it or really feel these core values until you're part of it. So this is a little bit of a understand this is where we're going towards. This is our goal. This is our North Star. But until you're in it, until you're living in it, there's no way for me to actually prove this to you. But what I can tell you is transparency. You're going to see how transparent the company is, how you can be very in tune with your business at the drop of a hat. So you're going to actually see that. Then you're also going to see how agile we are in our business. So just one example, 2020, you know what happened in 2020. I can't necessarily share it because I want this video to stay monetized, but in 2020, when the world was really shutting down, if you will, well, we expanded our footprint into 8 different countries. So that's pretty powerful, right? So just giving you a perspective where a lot of real estate brokerages are closing down permanently. Some of them are suspending activity, if you will, or just closing their doors temporarily, well, you saw what EXP Realty did, and you're going to see, we might cover a little bit about the stock in terms of where it went, but I don't want to make any financial representations, so we may not. But what I am going to encourage you to do is go to the EXPI. So EXPI is our NASDAQ ticker symbol, so you can see what the stock has been doing for yourself. And you're going to see how that actually works with our business model. So innovation is always happening. So on the left-hand side, you know these logos. You know what Blockbuster was. You know what Circuit City was. But then you also you're a little bit more familiar with what the logos are on the right-hand side, Netflix, Amazon. So you saw what Netflix did to Blockbuster and what Amazon did to Circuit City. But I would also argue that you saw what they did to themselves. So it's not necessarily that this was the destroyer of Blockbuster or Amazon was the destroyer of Circuit City, but it was more of the clientele, more of the consumers, how they were, what their purchasing behaviors were. You saw that there was an actual need, and it was these companies that actually fulfilled that need. And here at EXP, that this is going to happen to traditional real estate brokerages. Now, traditional real estate brokerages, you're going to see what the definition is in the future slides. But with these traditional real estate brokerages, they have the opportunity of adapting. Now, there's certain ways, there's certain handcuffs that they have on themselves, that there's certain ways that they can't adapt, but they still have an opportunity to adapt right now. 2020 was a big accelerator and encouraged them to adapt rather quickly, and you're going to see what that looks like here shortly. But one huge difference is that EXP Realty is a brokerage, so it's a one brokerage, not a franchise. So think about what a traditional career as a real estate agent looks like. You're new to the real estate industry, so you get started in real estate and you think it's awesome, it's great, you're having great success. Your first year you go out, do 15 deals, then 50 deals, then 100 deals, and all this fun stuff. So much is going well for you. Well, there's a certain amount of time where there comes a certain point in time where you just can't grow anymore because you're one person. You can bring on buyer's agents, seller's agents, all that fun stuff, but what you decide to do there is well, let me expand and become my own broker. I'm used to being a team leader. I can manage people. I can help people grow their business. I'm a pretty good leader. So let me get out and be a broker so then I can scale my business and grow. So then you, as a real estate agent, a very successful agent at that, you have a decision to make. Well, do I create a independent brokerage with my own logo, with my own brand, with my own systems, with my own processes, or do I purchase a franchise? Do I purchase a franchise that basically all of the real estate brokerages out there that are national, they are franchises? Do I purchase a franchise and spend $50,000 on the franchise, spend another $50,000 on the build out, spend another $50,000 on marketing, recruiting, and trying to build my business, in addition to continue selling real estate to fund all of these activities? Do I go ahead and do that? And also with the understanding that I have to pay a premium every single month to be part of this franchise system. So it's not just a startup cost, it is an ongoing in perpetuity cost that I will have to incur if I join a franchise. So again, this is just the model that a successful real estate agent that is looking to start their brokerage, that's the model that exists today. So this is going to come into play later. Now, when we're talking about the typical franchise, not necessarily going into the broker role and purchasing one, well, you do have the franchise fees regardless. You have desk fees to pay, because guess what? Your broker, the franchise that you joined, even if you're in the same city, you have to pay to the national brand. So you have to pay for that. You're locally confined, so your franchises, you may be in the same city, but you have your little blocks, you have your neighborhoods that you can that you're constrained to. So you can't necessarily recruit worldwide. You can't recruit countrywide or statewide. You can't even recruit citywide because there's some conflicts right there. Inconsistent growth opportunities, meaning that, as I mentioned, if you have that capital, are you willing to expend that capital and really bet on yourself that you're going to be able to grow this company or grow your brokerage? But then also, when you're talking about growth incentives, it really does depend on the franchise that you join, because every franchise is operated different. You have a very strong franchise leader in a certain market, but then you may not have the strongest leader in another market. So that leadership is inconsistent at best, and it really does depend which one you join to see if you can become an associate broker, to see if you can become a regional manager for certain areas. So there's that inconsistency. And when it comes to limited technology, you will have access to their national resources, but once you start getting more niche, once you start getting into more specialized technology and support, that's something that you have to that's something that you have to pay upfront from your pocket. Now, if you look at the difference from a typical franchise to EXP Realty, we have equity. You can instantly have access to equity, and you're going to see the 5 different ways to have that. Revenue share, that's a little bit different. So that's another revenue stream that you can count on in addition to selling homes. So cloud campus environment, you can work from anywhere. There's no desk fees. So you can be vacationing anywhere and log in, and you're operating just as if you were operating from your home. Real-time support, so we have departments for that, and you're going to see what that looks like here shortly. Live training, over 50 hours of live training. That's actually 60 hours now, but for the sake of being consistent, over 50 hours of weekly live training that you have access to from actual producers in the space. So from actual leaders in the entire company of over 55,000 agents, because that's our agent count as of this recording. So you're not constrained to the broker that you're a part of. You're not constrained to the leadership that you have access to within your one franchise if you happen to be part of a franchise. Here, your pool is the entire company, because at any one point, a leader will chime in, and they actually are contractually designed to help you, and you're going to see what that means here shortly. That is that's a huge benefit. You have access to that. International collaboration. We're in 16 countries at the moment, and we're going to continue expanding. So international, you can expand from a real estate perspective, you can expand from a revenue share perspective, and from a stock equity perspective. The larger the company grows, the more successful that your portfolio will be. But again, I'm not making any financial representations or any stock claims, because we are regulated, and also I don't know all that much about stocks. I know enough, I just don't know enough, if you will. So the cloud campus environment, again, so no desk fees. You can work from anywhere, cut overhead brick and mortar costs, so no costly leases, no expensive leases, means a company can invest in agent support and technology. Now I'll go into a little bit of story time real quick on how this matters, especially if you are betting on yourself and becoming your own broker, where you are being very successful. You either buy a franchise or you go out as an independent and you go and get a commercial lease. Well, commercial leases, they can be anywhere from 3 to 7 years. And it just depends on the lease that you go into. Well, once you have a lease, you have to do some build out. So you have to build out the offices, you have to furnish it, you have to get the utilities, you have to sign to all these agreements. Well, that's assuming that you're going to be in that lease for 3, 5, 7 years. Nobody is guaranteed anything, especially in business. So one little story that I have to share is I used to own a laboratory, or be part owner in a laboratory in Thompson Station, Tennessee, so just south of Nashville. And here's where leases and entrepreneurship can kind of bite you in the butt. And that's part of it. That's the nature of it. So we had a laboratory. We did PGX and toxicology testing. And we had an operation for a little bit over a year. And then guess what? It went bankrupt because we did not know how to bill. We did not know how to bill for our tests. While we could make sales, we had plenty of partnerships with sales agents. We had plenty of partnerships with doctors and all that fun stuff. So we had the tests coming in. We even had the staff, very professional staff, that was performing the test. But the struggle, just in like any healthcare company, is in that revenue cycle. Well, we actually could not bill. We did not know how to bill. All that fun stuff. So I'm going off on a tangent. The key component here is we signed a multi-year lease. We signed, at that point, I believe it was a 7-year lease. So guess what? Well, we couldn't even make it past year 2 in the company. So what happens to those 5 years? What happens to the rest of the years? Well, considering the company went bankrupt, you would think, oh, okay, well, you can bankrupt the company and you're good to go. No, no, with commercial leases, what you're asked to do is sign on the dotted line and give a personal guarantee, which bridges the LLC, so bridges the corporation. So that means that Jaime Resendiz is liable for that remainder of the lease. Now, me and some other business partners. So the landlord, in this case, we're going to call that landlord Dave Ramsey. Yes, the Dave Ramsey. Well, he and his legal team, he's going to send you a letter, a notice of default on your lease because you've stopped paying your lease. So Dave Ramsey in this case is absolutely right. There's some other instances where I don't think he's right, but in this one he absolutely is right. It just so happens that that office building, or that building that we were operating the laboratory from, was owned by him, and come to find out he owns like half of Tennessee. Very successful man. But that's the risk, that's the exposure that any entrepreneur runs into. It doesn't have to be a laboratory. Clearly it can be a real estate space, it could be a boba tea shop, which I used to have one as well. But anyway, when it comes to all of these risks that you're taking, these are not necessary when you operate in the cloud campus environment where you don't need brick and mortar. So just go through the trouble of sharing that personal testimony, because that cost me a lot of money to get out of that lease. I ended up having to buy it out, and it was still a heck of expensive to do, but that's something that you don't incur with this model. But anyway, we'll continue going. Paperless transactions is something that at this point, if you're not paperless, if you're not digitally signing, then I worry for you. I worry for your car. I worry for your well-being, because you're going to be driving a lot and everywhere. And you get instant access to training and support. So again, you don't need a brick and mortar location to get this done. All right, so the agent-centric value proposition. So there's a lot of these elements that are explained a little bit further on, so we're not going to spend too much time, but just remember compensation, community, and cloud-based. So compensation, community, and cloud-based. So think of it as a triple C. So you have unique financial model with various opportunities to make and earn income. Community means more than just a place to hang your license, anywhere, anytime. So again, these are things that we're going to cover in depth very shortly, but we're just going to breeze right through this with the understanding that I'm going to have a very extensive breakdown on each. No franchise fees. We talked about that. Generous commission splits of 80-20 and capping at $16,000. Now, well, we'll cover the breakdown here in a couple of seconds. Revenue share program for attracting agents to EXP. So this is where you see a lot about recruitment. This is where you hear a lot of do EXP agents, all they do is recruit? Well, no, that's not true, and I'll prove that to you, but that's where the revenue share program comes into play. Equity awards for meeting production goals. So there's 5 ways to earn equity at EXP, and you have access to healthcare options. You're going to see how that actually personally affects me today. Community, cloud-based collaboration, community-wide diversity programs, Icon Achiever program, partner community with access to professional services, listing services, and client services, mentorship programs. We'll talk about the mentorship program when we get to the fees. Cloud-based, the first global brokerage to shift from brick and mortar to cloud-based. That matters. Work from anywhere using EXP state-of-the-art technology, a virtual campus with immense platform connecting all agents globally. Productivity suite with collection of tools, co-working, CRM, leads, all that stuff. So we'll talk about that here shortly. So again, just want you to remember compensation, community, and cloud-based. Breaking things down into compensation. This is where a lot of you want to get to. This is where a lot of the questions come up. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if you fast forwarded to this particular point in the video. So welcome. Thanks for fast forwarding. This is what matters to you, right? So no DAS fees, royalty fees, or franchise fees. So notice how all of these fees, any other brokerage, if you're a new agent or if you're already an agent and you know what this looks like whenever your commission gets cut, you know that there's that commission, that the gross commission, and then there's the broker split, and then there's the fee, and then that smallest number typically is your commission. It's a sad state of affairs, but there's options, and this is what we're looking at today. Commission and cap. It's an 80-20 split. So 80% for the broker, for the brokerage. I'm sorry, here we go. Whoa. 80% for the agent, 20% for the broker / the brokerage. And that 20% will come into play shortly. And at $16,000 cap. So this means if you charge 3% commission, to your clients, you need to sell 2.666 million in sales volume to cap at $16,000. So basically 2.6 million in sales volume at a 3% commission that you're charging, that is $16,000 in cap. So that means that once you sell 2.66 million in sales volume, after that you will have capped and you're earning 100% commission. Some of you may have a 90-20 split, a 95-5 split, but you don't have a cap. So if you do enough volume, that becomes substantial. Now, once you cap, let's just say you sold beyond 2.66 million in sales volume at a 3% commission, then every transaction there moving forward, you're going to pay $250 in a transaction fee until this transaction fee hits $5,000. So that's 20 transactions, just to do the math for you. After those 20 transactions, you move down to $75 per transaction. So breaking this down into simple numbers, let's say your average commission, your average sales price is $266,000. That's the house, $266,000. You sell 10 of those bad boys, well, you capped, right? So that's 2.66 million in sales volume. So that means 10 transactions for you to cap. After you cap, if you do 20 more transactions, each one of those transactions is going to be a transaction fee of $250. So that equates to $5,000. So for $5,000 in these fees, you sold that amount of real estate. So those 20 transactions. After those 20 transactions, keep in mind, this might sound like a lot. Let's say, well, because if you do the math, it's 30 transactions. There's a lot of you that are doing 35, 55, 100. That really adds up. And you're going to see how you get all of this back here shortly. But that's what the commission structure looks like. Now, when it comes to fees, now what's the actual cost? Now, this varies country by country. So we're talking about the US. If you're interested in all the other countries, then reach out to me and we'll do that math together. But the startup fee is $149. So whenever you transfer into EXP, it's going to be $149 for the startup, which already includes your first month's fee. So your first month is a cloud brokerage fee, is $85 a month every single month, but this startup fee already includes that. So for that first month, it's already covered. So truly, if you break it down, it's $64 in sign-up fees. So long way of saying is $85 a month is what you can expect to pay at EXP, regardless if you sell 0 properties or 20 properties. That month, you're going to at least pay $85 a month. Every transaction is going to have a $25 transaction review, and then you're going to have a $40 risk management fee or E&O until you get $500. So that means that when you make your first commission sell, let's just say you have your first sell, it's $10,000. Well, $2,000 is going to go straight to the brokerage. We know that. $8,000 is left in gross commission for you. From that, you're going to need to subtract $65 more, and there you have your take home. It's that simple. So again, this risk management fee, this caps out at $500. Now, the reason that it's that matters is because in a lot of the brokerages that you're in right now, you actually have to pay the E&O or the risk management fee, as it's commonly known. You have to pay that up front. You have to pay $600, $1,200, in some instances more, without having sold anything. So there's many conversations where I have with real estate agents that they don't want to make the move to EXP because they already paid for the year in this transaction. So they already paid for the year's worth of E&O. In some cases, it's over $1,000. So here, you don't pay E&O until the transaction actually happens, and it caps at $500. So that matters. All right, so again, these are the fees, and then let's just do another example. Let's just say you already capped, and it's $10,000 commission. Well, at that point, since you capped, we don't have a split, and the only thing they have to do now is subtract $250. And at that point, chances are that if you've capped, you don't need to. You probably already capped the E&O, the risk management. So then you only subtract $25 more for the transaction review. It's a pretty good deal. So you just sold a $10,000 commission for $275 after you cap. So again, this after you cap. All right, so now for the revenue share plan. Revenue share. This is different than equity. This is different than stocks. So at EXP, you receive income from selling houses. That's something that you already know. That's the commission split that we just spoke about. That's the part of the compensation plan and model at EXP. But you also receive compensation as part of revenue share. So EXP's revenue share plan is one way that EXP rewards its agent for attracting new agents to join EXP. Let's call that recruitment. Let's call that recruiting, just so we're clear. So that's the second revenue stream at EXP. And then you're going to see how that drives a third income stream for you. But simply put, an EXP agent can sponsor a new agent to join EXP. Now that wording is a little bit different. So when we say a new agent, it doesn't mean a new agent to the industry, just a new agent to EXP. So just make sure that's clear. Once the new agent, again, the new agent to EXP, begins closing on transactions, the sponsor receives a percentage of the company revenue. It's important, revenue from the sales activity of their sponsored agent until their annual commission cap of $16,000 is reached. And you're going to see what the numbers look like here shortly. Important note, EXP pays that share, not the agent. It's taken from that 20% adjusted gross commission income received by EXP. So it goes back to that breakdown. So 80% for the agent, 20% for the brokerage. The entire revenue share program operates off of this 20% that's already going to the company. So that's important to note. So one additional thing important to note here before we continue going on the revenue share plan, we have to revisit this. If you are a new agent, meaning new agent to the industry, an agent that has not closed more than 3 transactions in the last 12 months, then your commission split is not 80-20. So I just want to make sure that the reason I have to go back and forth here is because I need to explain the new agent, because the wording can be tricky, but also I need to explain that as a new agent, you require additional support. As a new agent, there are different needs that you have. So with that being said, as a new agent at EXP, your split is not 80-20. As a new agent, your split is 60-40. 60% for you, 40%, and I'll share what the 40% goes. That 20% that we just talked about, that still stays the same, but that additional 20%, 10 of it goes to pay for your mentor, and the other 10 goes to pay for EXP University, so the program. So you as a new agent, you're paying 60-40 for the first 3 transactions. So I'll repeat that again. If you're a new agent or have not closed 3 transactions in the last 12 months, your first 3 transactions at EXP are 60-40. 20% for the brokerage, 10% for the agent that is your mentor, that's designed and instructed, contractually obligated to support you and help you as a mentor should. That's where that 10% goes. And the other 10%, that goes to EXP University. So the program that's designed to, that you have to go through as additional formation as a new agent. So just to recap, new agents, it's a little bit different compensation structure. So I want to make sure that we're clear. So that's something that a lot of agents don't share as they're attracting you or recruiting you, because that's a difficult conversation that most agents just aren't willing to have, either because they don't know it or they're being disingenuous. So just giving you a quick heads up on that. I want to make sure that you're clear on that. If you're a new agent, it's 60-40 for the first 3 transactions. Thereafter, once you've closed your first 3 transactions, then it goes to that 80-20. So just make sure that you're aware of that. But with that being said, let's get back to the revenue share plan. When you're talking about the revenue share plan, again, all of it is coming from that 20 split. So let's get going. Single agent revenue share. So it's important to understand that this is not a guarantee. These are not representations. This is not saying that you're going to make all of this money. So just want to make sure that we're not making financial claims, if you will. So this is what the opportunity is. It's your responsibility to work hard, have that diligence, show that leadership, and prioritize this in your business. So this is something that is achievable. I'm not saying that you're going to achieve it instantly or ever. Just giving you that option. This is an opportunity just like anything in life is. All right, so single agent revenue share, 3.5% of the gross commission. Agents at EXP can receive revenue share income from the sales activity of agents they bring into the company. So that means that I am here, I attract an agent. I can receive up to $2,800. Here's how. From that agent's production. Remember, this is revenue share. It's from that 20%. For each agent you bring into EXP, you can earn up to $2,800 depending on the sales production of that agent. This continues to be paid to you as long as you as a real estate agent remain an active agent, and the agent that you have brought into the business stays with EXPs and EXP and generates sales. Revenue share is paid from the percentage that EXP receives and doesn't reduce agent commission. So this is restating what we talked about right here. Revenue share is operated from that 20%, not from that 80%. Right? So what this means that since the revenue share program operates from that 20%, let's remember that at EXP, the cap is $16,000. So that lets you know that at some point, that 20% is not going to exist because the agent that you sponsored went to 100% commission. I hope you're following along here. So that means that the agent that you sponsored, when they go on to surpass that point, that breaking point where they actually go to 100% commission, there's no 20% for you to revenue share from because that went away. You're not going to dig into the real estate agent's pocket unless they become part of your team. You're a standard team, self-organized team. I have another full video, and I'll link it up here somewhere, that really breaks down the teams, but what we're talking about is completely different. So from this standpoint, your cap is up to $2,800. So assuming that you sponsor an agent, Becky, you sponsored Becky, and she capped and went on to be 100% commission, well, you receive $2,800 from Becky, and that resets every single year. So what we're talking about is yearly. It's 12 months from the month that they joined EXP. So it's yearly. So let's continue going. We operate the cascading revenue share. So earn more for both the productive agents you bring into EXP Realty as well as agents they bring in. So you brought in Becky and Becky brings in Joe. You brought in Tyler and Tyler is content, but he hasn't attracted anybody, and that's okay. You don't have to be a recruiter. That is not a thing. You don't have to participate in this revenue share because you don't have to. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. Then you attracted Tony, and Tony attracted and recruited X, Y, and Z person, and then 1, 2, 3 person. So you are gonna receive revenue share from each one of these individuals. So you have up to $2,800 per agent. So if that agent caps, there's $2,800. That agent caps, there's $2,800. If that agent caps, and you get the gist. Now, if this agent caps, you actually receive more. How cool is that? So if this agent goes on to cap, that's $3,200 for you. And the agent that sponsored them, that's $2,800 for that agent. Are you starting to see how this works? And I have a very powerful calculator that really breaks all this down further if you'd like to see that. As an example, if you personally sponsor 5 agents to EXP who meet the production requirements and they in turn sponsor their own productive agents, you can earn up to An additional $3,200 annually for the production of each of those agents, tier 2 agents, on top of the $2,800 you earn from that agent. So assuming that you brought in these 5 agents, you can receive $2,800 for each one of these if they cap. Now, if they don't cap, then that's okay. You can receive up to. So that means that as they're closing transactions the following month, you're going to receive your portion of revenue share. It doesn't mean that every agent has to meet the capping criteria in order for you to receive that. You're receiving that as they close, and you're receiving that the following month. So I'll get into what the production requirements are here shortly. All right, so revenue share explained. So cascading revenue share. So maximum potential from every agent that you sponsor. So you saw the little diagram that we just went through, but now imagine that through 7 tiers. So an agent that you sponsor on your tier 3, let's just say, if they're on your tier 3, then that's $2,000 per agent on that tier, and you still receive the tier on tier 2, tier 1. Same thing down here. If you have agents on your tier 7, well, you receive $4,000 on all of the agents that cap on that tier 7. So that's how it's structured. But let me go to this one to really talk about the entire breakdown. Regardless, let me repeat, regardless of your agent count, which we'll talk about the frontline qualifying agent count, you're going to receive revenue share. So when you sponsor an agent, regardless if you meet the following criteria that I just go into right here, regardless if you meet these or not, you're going to receive revenue share. What the difference is either you're participating in the expansion share or in the exponential share. So it's either or, it's not and. So you don't add this to this or this to that. This is, you're either on this tier or on this tier. Now it could so happen that you're on, well, I'll show you. So frontline qualifying agent. What's a frontline qualifying agent? Well, a frontline qualifying agent is an agent that you personally sponsor and is actually having production. So to be considered a frontline qualifying agent, there has to be some levels of sales. So that's either having sold $5,000 in the last 6 months. So in the last 6 months, within the period of 6 months, they will need to have at least $5,000 in commission or have 2 transactions. It's either or. So this means that in a period of 6 months, for an agent that you sponsor to be considered a frontline qualifying agent, they have to have a level of production, and that's either $5,000 in commission, gross commission, or 2 transactions. Is that making sense? I know I just confused a lot of you, and that's okay. I confused myself a long time ago, and I confuse myself sometimes too. So frontline qualifying agents, that's what the FLQA means. So this means that if you personally sponsor, that's where the frontline comes into play. If I personally sponsor 5 agents, as an example that we saw earlier, and they meet the qualifying agent part where they actually meet the criteria to be considered an FLQA, so frontline qualifying agent, that means that so if I have those 5, that means that I'm here. That means I attracted 5 agents and they all were actually qualifying agents. That means that they either sold 2 transactions or had $5,000 in commission in the last 6 months. So that's what the frontline qualifying agent means. If I attracted 5 agents and none of them sold anything, that means that they just did not sell anything, there's no production, then they're called a frontline agent. That's it, an FLA. They're not qualifying at that point. Is that making sense? So is that word. So the reason that there's a distinction is because you can attract anybody. You can attract 100 agents, but if they don't sell anything, then the brokerage goes bankrupt. There's no sales. So going back to the whole, well, all EXP agents do is recruit. Well, at some point, somebody has to be selling property, right? At some point, real estate needs to be sold in order for this to even happen, because remember, the revenue share is from that 20%. So from the frontline qualifying agent count, how you read this chart is on your tier 1, let's just say I attracted 3 agents And for the sake of our example, let's just say all 3 agents were frontline qualifying agents, meaning that they sold what they needed to sell to be considered a qualifying agent. Let's just say I had 3 agents here, and each one of them sponsored an agent. So each one of them sponsored another agent. So we have 3 agents here, and then now we have 3 agents here because I personally sponsored 3 agents. They were qualifying, and then they sponsored 3 agents here. Well, because I had 3 agents on this tier 1, I'm going to receive 3.5% commission on their production on these 3 agents. Okay. Now on tier 2, because I have, when it comes to frontline qualifying agents, I have less than 5, which is what's required to open up this tier. Because I have less than 5, I have to operate from the expansion share column. I am not eligible to participate from this column. Is that making sense? So these 3 agents, I receive that 3.5% because you see right here, it's non-existent. So you are default receiving this. But when you have 3 agents in your other tier, so they sponsored each an agent, you would love to receive 3.8%, but you're going to be on this tier because you don't have enough frontline qualifying agents to unlock this. Now, if you had at least 5, then you would participate on 3.8% off of their activity. Now let's switch it. Let's just say you had 6 frontline qualifying agents, and then half of them attracted one. So the same 3 agents here. So let's just say 6 agents, and and half of them attracted 1 agent. So that means that there's 3 agents on your tier 2. Well, nothing changes here. You're going to receive 3.5% off of those 6 agents regardless. But now, since you have at least 5 frontline qualifying agents, you're going to receive 3.8% on the production of those 3 agents. So that's the difference. So I know that can get a little bit complex. Of a full breakdown of the entire revenue share with figures, with actual numbers, with full representation. So I'll make sure that I link that up here. But that's what the revenue share program is. But if there's any questions, please feel free to drop them down below. Now I know that was very, very dense, but it's very needed. So you had everything at your disposal. But if there's any questions, comment down below or just send me an email. I'll be happy to address and give you some real numbers, real breakdowns. Now, what we just talked about was the revenue share program. So again, that's that second revenue stream. That's where the recruitment comes into play. That's when we're talking about agent attraction. Now, whether you make money at EXP through selling houses or through selling agents, if you will, both of those avenues are going to help you achieve equity, help you receive stocks. And these are the 5 ways, the different 5 ways that you receive stocks. So we're talking about 2 revenue streams that feed into the third income stream for you. Alrighty, so agents can become shareholders at EXP Realty. So our ticker symbol is EXPI, as mentioned earlier. Check it out. See where the stock has been. Sustainable equity plan. Each year earn shares on your first transaction. How cool is that? So each year earn shares on your first transaction. That is powerful. Earn shares when you cap. So that means that when you go on to achieve a certain milestone, when you cap, congratulations, you receive some shares. Earn shares when an agent you sponsor closes their first transaction. So if you sponsor an agent, not only do you get the benefit of the revenue share, but you get the benefit of the stock. And just for those of you that are wondering, well, how many shares? It doesn't operate in shares, it operates in monetary value. So if you depends on the price of the share is what ultimately the amount of shares that you're going to get. So here it's $200 for your first transaction, $400 when you cap, and then $400 when an agent you sponsors closes their first transaction. So that's how you do the math. 200, 400, 400. And you can see some of these are yearly, right? So they reset every year. All right, then the Icon Agent Award, up to $16,000 in stock upon the achievement of certain production and cultural goals within your anniversary year. All right, so this is where we have to break it down. When you become an icon agent at EXP, that means that after you cap, so let's take the previous example that we talked about. Let's just say you had the average sales price of $266,000 homes, and then you sold 10 of those. So that will roughly be $2.66 million in sales volume that you need, assuming a 3% commission, for you to cap. So it took you about 10 transactions for you to cap. After that, if you go on to do 20 more transactions, that means that it's 30 transactions as a whole. If you go on to do 20 more transactions, then you will receive the Icon Agent Award. Now, for you commercial people and for you luxury people, it's a little bit different. We're talking about GCI. So email me and I'll send you the exact breakdown on what that looks like. But because it's a little bit different. There, you're not treated per transaction because your sales price is so high. So a lot of luxury, you don't need to sell 20 more transactions. A lot of commercial, you don't need to sell 20 more transactions because the price is just so high. So you don't need to do the 20 more transactions. But again, just email me and I'll send you the exact details on that. When it comes to the Icon Award, though, once you achieve that goal, so achieve that milestone of 20 more transactions, you're eligible for the Icon Agent Award. So you can receive up to $16,000 in stock upon the achievement of that production and cultural goals within your anniversary year. So what that means is, if you have that level of production, the original $16,000 that you paid into the brokerage for you to cap, going back here, all that can be issued to you in stock. So I'll repeat that again. All of that can be issued to you in stock. So if you think of it that way, you really didn't have an 80-20 split, because all that came back to you in some way, shape, or form. And now here's where we have to get into some delicate conversations. Because it gets issued to you in stock, the price can go up, it can go down. We don't know. I'm not going to make any representation. There was a really good period where it absolutely skyrocketed. There's time where it's sunk down a little bit, but at some point EXP was in the penny stocks, but now it's not. So because you receive $16,000 in stock today doesn't mean that it's going to be $16,000. It could very easily be X, Y, and Z. Again, it's going to be, I have to moderate my language. It could be higher, it can be lower, but this is money that no other brokerage is going to give you. So I want you to go to your broker right now and ask them for the cap back. I want you to go to your broker, regardless of the broker that you're with, ask them for your cap back if you sell 30 transactions. Right? So just putting that in perspective. Now, when it comes to cultural goals, what does that exactly mean? I'll link down what that means. And actually, there's a video coming out on the Icon Agent Award that I have. So I'll make sure that I link it up as soon as I get that up. But when it comes to the cultural goals, you are required to give back to the community. So remember that we talked about the 50 plus hours of live training. Well, there's an element that you have to give back to the community in order to be eligible for that, a portion of that stock designation. So a majority of it you get back instantly because of the production that you did, but some of it has to be, you have to contribute back to the community in some way, and it's detailed out how. There's 2 conferences that we have at EXP, so EXPCon and EXP Summit. So you're going to be if you attend each one of those, then you get a portion of that back as well. So I don't want to risk throwing so many different numbers at you, because then it can just seem a little bit like I'm conflating several different points. I'd much rather just you click on the link down below and you'll see the Icon Agent breakdown. But basically what we're talking about is you received a certain amount back, if you will, because of your production, and then there's certain criteria that you need to meet in order to receive the rest of it back. But that's why it's in stock upon the achievement, blah blah blah, within your anniversary year. So that's why you're eligible for it. The Agent Equity Program, you can allocate 5% of every transaction commission and purchase stock at a 10% discount. So you can allocate 5% of your commission to purchase stock at a 10% discount. That's basically what that means. So as you can see here, you don't have to reach the Icon Agent Award. It's awesome if you would, but you don't have to in order to continue benefiting from an equity perspective. Now, again, I challenge you to go to your broker right now, regardless if it's large or small, and ask them, what does this look like for me? How can I receive equity into this company? Keep in mind, we're not talking about commission. We're not even talking about recruiting. We're talking about something completely different that you get the benefit of for doing either or. In most cases, it's and. So this is just a cherry on top. So when it comes to all these comments that come up from Facebook groups, well, oh, where's the stock now? Okay, yeah, it went down a little bit. Or hey, it went up a little bit. Cool. Where's yours? Where's your stock for selling 50 homes last year? Because I don't see it. Right? So anyway, it's just a lot of comments that are just said in, I would say, more in frustration. I wouldn't even say ignorance. I would say more in frustration, because I'll admit EXP agents don't have the best rap when it comes to being able to thoroughly explain this to you. I fully admit that. Like this is just like foreign math to people, and rightly so. Even I have a difficult time. Hopefully I did a decent enough job to where you understand it. But a lot of agents that are looking to make some additional revenue and are presented with an opportunity like this, they don't know how to articulate this value, and are going to be the people that make EXP Realty agents look bad because they're out there spamming groups. Join EXP. We have ref share. We have stock, but they can't explain to you the 5 different ways that you earn stock. They can't explain to you what the revenue share program is. Now, everyone operates their business different. I fully acknowledge that. So I can't necessarily demonize these agents, but it's a reality that's happening. So I didn't say anything about EXP until months after I joined EXP, because I need to understand it for myself. And it just proved out time and time again. But with that being said, let's continue. EXP Agent Healthcare. So at EXP, we're proud to offer EXP Agent Healthcare, which provides US blah, blah, blah. Basically, what we're talking about is you have the ability to access affordable healthcare. That's basically what this is. Now, the only thing that I want to share here is 2 things. One, when you're joining EXP, or even before joining EXP, inquire about this. Just do a quick consultation. Just do a quick look. If it makes sense for you, switch. If it doesn't, don't. It's that simple. If this is less expensive and you get more coverage, great. If it's more expensive and you get less coverage, don't change. Why would you? That's dumb. That's called not what you want to do. So that's what I want to share there. But for me, as personal experience, I actually am a part of this healthcare plan. I am actually part of this network, because I will need a knee surgery very, very soon. Now, I know I don't look it, but I used to be a pretty good athlete. But after a marathon run in Mexico City, where I ran the Mexico City Marathon, it really jacked up my knee. So I had 2 knee surgeries, and it just hasn't been the same since. It's just had my meniscus. I tore my meniscus. I wasn't even I think I was halfway through. I'll give myself credit. So I was more than halfway through on the marathon, but I ended up having to quit, go down to the subway station, and then take the subway back to the starting point. So the Zócalo, if anybody cares. any of you that know Mexico City, you know what I'm talking about. So that was some hard times. But anyway, when it comes to the knee, when it comes to anything, I do have better coverage now, and I had independent coverage before I switched over. So I will need to get this operated, and this is the best way to do that. Cloud-based brokerage whose foundation is built using innovation and cutting-edge technology. That sounds cool, right? So work anywhere, anytime. That's basically as simple as I can make it. Join a meeting or learn on the go with EXP Realty. You see what the mobile looks like. You see what the desktop looks like. You can have live support. You can have live training. You can access individual departments that will answer your questions. Hey, I have a question about the agent that I sponsored. Do you have a second? Hey, I have a question about my kvCORE website. Can you help me out? Hey, I have a question about my commission. Can you help me understand where this is coming from? And you can reach out to your brokers. This is where we live. The broker, well, I shouldn't say I'm not the broker, but this is where brokers live, in the broker rooms. So you have access to that. Now, when it comes to cloud-based agent tools, a lot of agents are going to tell you, we have the best technology. This is what they're talking about. this is the technology that they're talking about. So EXP Enterprise, we're going to cover that in depth, but just, well, let's just cover all these in depth here in the next slide. So EXP Enterprise, transaction management, community platform, CRM, lead generation, live training, EXP resource guide. So let's look at what those look like. EXP Enterprise. So it's a dashboard where you can see all the agents that you sponsor. This is where you can see your production. This is where you can see how close you are to capping. This is where you can review your equity awards, so you get to measure how much your portfolio has grown or how much it's gone down. So you have access to that. Real-time supporting. There's no emailing accounting at X, Y, and Z brokerage. Hey, what's my sales volume? No, you don't need to keep track of it yourself unless you want to. This is already done for you, and it's real time. You can check this at any point in time. If you have that hunch, hey, I'm pretty close to capping, but I'm not sure, and it's 3 in the morning. Who do I reach out to? Log into EXP Enterprise. Transaction management. We use Skyslope. You have your transactions. This is where you upload your transactions. This is where you get the templates. I'm sorry. This is where you get the checklist of all of the documents that you're going to need, all the addendums, all the amendments, anything that needs to happen. That's where you go to get them. That's where you go to submit them to the broker for review. You can actually use Skyslope to get things signed. It's pretty simple. So a lot of you happen to have a variation of this. Either you have Dotloop, or you have DocuSign, or you have Instanet. This works very much the same way. Community platform. So we have what's called Facebook Workplace. So think of it like Facebook, but for more of a business setting. And here you have access to all of your brokers. You have access to all the executives. You have access to all the agents. This is your great way to collaborate. This is a great way for you to get answers. So if you are not able to find a training that you really wanted to attend, let's just say you wanted to learn more about Skyslope, well, you would go to EXP Workplace, and right there where it says search workplace, you would type in Skyslope, and you would get a ton of recordings, a ton of chats about Skyslope. You're gonna get all the resources right there. Because believe it or not, even though we have a virtual brokerage, your brokers that are responsible for your state, they need to sleep. So these are not unicorns that just simply because there's a brokerage that's online doesn't mean that the broker needs to be available to you at 2 a.m. in the morning. That's not feasible. You don't ask that from your broker right now. So why are you going to ask that from somebody that's in a virtual space? You have access to the information that you were going to ask your broker on Workplace. So regardless of the regardless of the time of the day, you're going to have access to answers. All right, and CRM. So CRM, we have kvCORE. So kvCORE is a very powerful CRM, and what I really like about kvCORE is that I'm pretty good at it. I like that fact, but it's just so it has your landing pages, it has your website, it has your email autoresponder, it has your text autoresponder, it has your single property website, it operates as a CRM. So it's a great tool for you to generate leads, and I am, at this point, I would say I am the leading educator with kvCORE. So I'm the leading educator for kvCORE, the CRM, the product, and I know some things, and I've shared some things out on YouTube. So I challenge you to go open up an incognito window, or open up your YouTube window right now and type in kvCORE, and you're gonna see how many of the top videos are mine. So I share a lot of pretty cool stuff, but I also reserve some stuff just for my agents, the agents that I sponsor, and the agents that they sponsor. So those blueprints, those jumpstart strategies, those are just for my agents. So although I really share a lot of cool stuff out here on the interwebs, on YouTube, there's a lot of really cool stuff on the back end that I only make available to my agents. So partnering with me is not a bad gig. And when it comes to lead generation, so I have a marketing agency where I help my agents with their marketing exclusively. So there you go. If you're looking for a reason to join, looking for a reason to have access to me and my team and have all of those resources available at your disposal, there's a reason I have one of the fastest growing teams at EXP, because I provide way more than any sponsor out there. I provide more value than any agent out there, because I have my own internal staff at this point helping out my agents. Anyway, so with that being said, live training, over 50 hours of live training each week, learn from the industry standards. we already talked about this. So we're not going to touch too much on the live training, but you have access to very valuable information that you wouldn't have anywhere else on any other brokerage. And then you have that real-time support. So we have our Explore guide. Again, simply because we're online doesn't mean that the 24/7 support is a thing, because people need to sleep. Now, as we continue opening up different countries, as we continue to operate in so many different time zones, then yeah, we will need to have the brokerage, the world operate 24/7. But right now, it's not necessary. You have a lot of the answers right in front of you in the Explore guide. So this is, think of it like your reference guide specifically for EXP, giving you answers. Now you can use this, the Explore guide, in tandem with the Workplace to find just about any answer that you need. It'd have to be super, super incredibly niche for you not to have an answer through these search features. And when it comes to community, we celebrate diversity. So you can see we have a big initiative here. So this is something that we are embracing the culture. We are embracing the diversity aspect. So again, this is one of those items that until you live it, you're not going to be able to fully appreciate it. EXP Life, same thing. This is it's one of those, until you live it, you're not going to really be able to fully appreciate it. But this is just gives you a different perspective of how we do real estate and what it means to do it within EXP. So just that communal aspect. International collaboration, we're in 16 different countries. So you can see the countries that we're in at the moment and the ones that we're going to be expanding to. Those are not highlighted here, but just giving you a different perspective. Actually, we don't, we have not put the ones that we're coming up on the summer. So at the end of the day, it's going to be 16 countries, but depending on when you watch this video, it's actually probably going to be less. It's going to be more when you're watching this video. But this is the presence that we have as of today. So if you called, you're going to have an agent in each one of these. So this is what the international expansion looks like. And as you can tell, if you remember back at the beginning, I know you're hanging in there with me, so I appreciate you. At the beginning, in 2020, we made a substantial movement. In 2020, we had half of these people. Half of these countries. So that's crazy, right? So in 2020, when a lot of the world was contracting, this expanded. Now we do have an agent and advisory council, which is designed to help elevate our voice. So that's something that we have representation there. And then we also have partners. So there's too many partners here to mention, but I break it down very simply. If you use a partner that we have at EXP, either your clients spend less money, so your clients save money, or you save money, or you make money. So I'll repeat that. Either your clients save money, or you save money, or you make money. Those are the only three options at EXP. So when it comes to your partners, so you have here, this is our mortgage service division. If you invest in Intraland, off the dividends, you can actually make money, if you will, and your clients save money. So that's a trifecta, or I guess not a trifecta. That's, you get both of the benefits there. If you home warranty partner, if your buyers end up selecting this home warranty, your buyers spend less on home warranty, and you make money off of that. If you need your continuing education credits, you actually save money through the CE shop. And there's multiple different partners that we have here. So every aspect of real estate is covered at this point. And I have a video specifically that talks about partners, so you see what that looks like. Now, joining the team that breaks down the boundaries. So the company that everybody's talking about, these are just, I'm going to leave this up here for a quick second, just so you can kind of read some of the waves that EXP is making, some of the ways that other main publications in the real estate space are covering EXP. And this is where we disprove all EXP agents do is attract or recruit. I mean, just look at #1 ranked by closed transactions for 2019. There you go. Transactions. You see the sales volume ranked by closed sales volume, #4. So if that was true, the stock really wouldn't be worth much, because there would be nothing for revenue, if you will. The revenue share program would not technically be able to operate because there's no commissions to be shared from. And then from the commission split, well, I mean, you already know if there's no commission, then there's no income for you. So this just gives you a bit of why production matters, and this really dispels any hey, all EXP agents do is recruit. So there you go. It's just they just don't know what they don't know, and this really proves it. So you see the agent count and then you see the revenues. Well, if you made it this far, I really appreciate you. If you'd like some additional information or you have some questions of what your actual sales production can look like at EXP, so your present sales production, you want to see what it can look like mapped out fully, then just feel free to reach out. But there's going to be a link down below that gives you more information about my partnership. And I think you're going to be pleased at all the different benefits that you receive and ways that we're actually helping our real estate agents grow exponentially and grow their business in ways that nobody thought imaginable. So if there's any questions, please feel free to use the link down below. I'll look forward to connecting with you.